Ah, Christmas, the sheer predictability of it all. Turkey, presents, mince pies, family feuds, overeating. But sometimes, just sometimes, something happens that makes everything a little bit more interesting. It started on Facebook a few weeks ago. A bored couple, disillusioned with the fickleness of the pop industry and sick of Simon Cowell's money-making machine, decided to try and do something. Determined that this year wouldn't be the 5th year in a row that an X Factor winner would make it to Christmas #1. They decided to start a campaign to get the ultimate anti-capitalist, anti-establishment anthem into the top spot. That song is Killing in the Name. The band is Rage Against the Machine. Starting in a humble London living room with only 2 members, the Facebook group now has over 750,000 members, and Killing in the Name of is at the top spot. And in the meantime, the founders of the campaign have also raised over 32 grand for shelter. But the battle is not over. Not until the Christmas chart is announced is the winner going to triumph. So it is with great honour that I welcome to The Breakfast Show the man behind one of the greatest songs of all time from Los Angeles, Rage Against the Machine's Tom Morello. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm very good, I suppose the first question is, what do you know about this campaign to get you to Christmas #1 in the UK? What do you know about it?
Well, my British friends have been, were texting me about the Facebook page, and of course we have we have American Idol here in the States, so I think I have a pretty good idea of what the X Factor actually is. And at first I thought, what a wonderful dose of anarchy for the Christmas holidays.
So, you've heard of Simon Cowell. Are you a fan of his work?
Oh, a fan of Simon Cowell's work. I'm familiar with what it is. It's not something that I pay that close attention to, but I do think I have to say that I love the independent spirit of the British rock fans. For the one thing about the X Factor show, much like our own American Idol, is on the show, if you're a viewer of the show, you get to vote for one candidate or the other, but you don't really get to vote against the show itself until now.
That's got to feel pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's but I really understand, and I think that, from what I've read about it, I think that it shouldn't be misinterpreted. First of all, it's completely a grassroots effort, from individuals in your fine land there, and it's nothing against the individual candidates or against the guy who runs the show. I think that your country has such a great, rich history of cutting-edge, exciting rebel music, whether it's the early Stones and the Who or the Clash and the Sex Pistols or Prodigy and Muse, that I think that people are just fed up with being represented every Christmas holiday by, being spoon-fed some overblown, sugary ballad that sits atop the charts. And so, like I said, a little dose of anarchy for the holidays is good for the soul.
So do you think the song's message sits well with Christmas?
I don't know. I think the song's message of standing up to illegitimate authority does not have a season. That song to me seems like it's a rebel anthem that will transcend the holidays. Because the essence of that Killing in the Name song, I believe, is really there's a great autobiography by an escaped slave named Frederick Douglass, went on to be a great orator and guy who fought against slavery. And he, in that autobiography, he said that the moment he became free was not when he was released from his shackles. It was when Master said yes and he said no. And I think there's something in the reptilian brain and in the human spirit that bucks against this illegitimate authority, being spoon-fed stuff like this, and people aren't taking it. And kudos to them. So
do you think that Simon Cowell's shows like X Factor and American Idol are quite damaging for the music industry per se?
I don't know if they're, as far as damaging, certainly not commercially, but it's this big, machinery that puts forward a particular kind of music, which represents a particular kind of listener. There are a lot of people that just don't feel represented by it, and this Christmas in the UK, they're having their say. I just want to say, too, that, this is a sort of an unexpected windfall and whatnot, and me personally, I'm going to donate part of my proceeds from this Killing the Name sales to an organization in the UK called Youth Music, which is UK's largest children's music charity, and provides funds for, projects and activities for kids who couldn't otherwise afford it. So my hope is that, one of the results of this whole Christmas season is there'll be a new generation of rockers who will take on the establishment with the music they write.
Well, this is one of the things that critics say about X Factor and American Idol, is that it's got a negative effect on young musicians because it's kind of it promotes fame as being inspirational rather than maybe skill or integrity or hard work. Right. Is that a fair criticism?
Right. Right. Well, I mean, I think there's, my hope is that young people are smart enough to figure it out. But this year, it's at least there's some new grist for the mill, and it's subject to debate in a way that it hasn't been in the past. So there are different options to becoming a musician than lining up and auditioning for this panel.
It's kind of interesting that Simon Cowell himself has kind of got involved in this debate. Many people thought he'd just kind of ignore it or sort of deem it below him, but he actually said that the people behind the campaign were being cynical. I mean, how do you feel about that?
That they're being cynical? Oh, no. While I don't know them personally, that would seem like an inaccurate criticism. I don't think there's anything cynical about it. In the spirit of great rebel music, and all the best music is rebel music, that they're taking up the torch for freedom of music in the UK, and like that top spot doesn't belong to anybody, and any TV show or any 90s political rock rap band. Let the people decide.
I think that's the thing. It's a question of choice. I think people are reacting not necessarily to Simon Cowell as a person or the artists that he looks after. It's more a case of people are sick of not being given a choice, people having a certain kind of music maybe forced upon them. That's more the thing I think people are reacting to.
I think that's very accurate, and I think that, and it's given that assessment, it's heartwarming that Killing in the Name has been chosen as a song to put forward as the banner for musical rebellion. Well,
as we speak, there's like 750,000 group members on Facebook that are supporting it. It's second in the iTunes charts. It's number 1 in Amazon UK download charts. It's number 1 in HMV, our big record store charts. That's got to feel pretty good.
That's great. It's let me tell you, it's surprising and it's awesome.
What is it about the track that just means people love it so much after all this time?
It was really the UK was the first country where Rage Against the Machine got traction, and it was and that was the first single. We shot the video for that song for about $500, and there was a lot of sort of controversy when it first came out. Some popular radio show played the unedited version with all the F you, I won't do what you tell me, and it became quite a phenomenon in 1992. But clearly, it is burned hot in the memory of UK fans, and I like the idea that that a new generation of music fans is going to be exposed to the subversive message contained within those riffs.
Have you spoken to the rest of the band? How do they feel about it?
Not really. I spoke with Brad about it. We've been texting back and forth about it. He was aware of it before I was. We've just been having a laugh. It's something pretty amusing, and we have always believed that the Rage Against the Machine fans are the best rock fans and best music fans in the world. Though I might say that there may be one group of music fans that are sort of greater stalwarts for musical freedom, and that would be anti-X Factor fans.
It could become like a sort of traditional Christmas number one every Christmas. Kind of like Band-Aid or sort of, Feed the World. Every year, Rage Against the Machine gets to number 1 all over the world. That'd be great.
It sounds like you're auditioning for managing the band.
Have you got a message for the people on Facebook that are getting behind the campaign?
Frankly, the song hasn't gone away over the course of the last 17 years. It's a song that's been, a big part of the, anti-globalization movement. And, whenever people, take to the street to confront injustice, this is one of the songs of that sort of soundtrack. So, well done.
Have you got a message for Simon Cowell?
I certainly bear him no ill will. I mean, he's going to do fine either way. He's going to be just fine either way.
Excellent. And just finally, before we let you go, what are you up to musically right now? Are there any plans to kind of work with Rage in the studio or live dates?
Yeah, we don't have any plans right now. We had a great time touring over the course of about 18 months and got along famously and played some great shows. And my hope is that we'll play shows in the future. But right now, there's no plans. I've been working with a new band called Street Sweeper Social Club, continuing my Night Watchman work, and continuing my political activism. And like I said, this is not something that's just going to run off to the coffers and cash this check. So there's a great organization called Youth Music that I'm going to donate some of my proceeds to help the next generation of UK rockers continue to upset the charts at Christmas time.
Well, I also know that the people that have organised the campaign over here are suggesting that people donate money to Shelter, which is a homeless...
That's very much in the spirit of the band, and I think it's a fine Christmas message.
Excellent. You should maybe re-record the track with sleigh bells on it.
We'll see. Well, now we'll see if X Factor is able to co-opt the phenomenon by having next year's winners sing "Killing in the Name."
That's a fantastic idea.
There you go.
Thank you very much for your time, mate. It's been really, really good to speak to you. Best of luck, and fingers crossed for Christmas number 1.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks again to all the listeners and supporters out there. Rebel Rock is alive and well. Killing in the name of...
that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces